This is the Detroit Sports Podcast Network.
The Lions continue to just truck along on this absolute tear through their NFL schedule. And now they're on to Carolina to continue on with this streak. In what looks to now be a fairly favorable push to the playoffs.
And by favorable, meaning you will probably be favored in the last 3 games of the season.
And
you are favored against Carolina by 2.5 last I checked, according to FanDuel's line.
Yeah, it's 2.5 as you're on the road in Carolina. Does that line at all surprise you? Like, is it a little bit lower than you would expect?
No, because it's still going to be like 30 degrees in Charlotte.
Well, yeah, everybody's dealing with a Winter Storm Elliott. Yeah. I learned the name of it today.
And we know how golf plays in cold weather. And Charlotte is no slouch. Like, Charlotte is actually playing for Carolina. Carolina is actually playing for the division lead here. So
they are. They even at 5-9, they're not dead because the NFC South is absolutely abysmal.
And as of right now, you're favored by a touchdown against the Bears next week.
Yes, I do expect that to change quite a bit. I'm not going to lie to you. Next week's at
smaller?
Home.
Yeah, next week's at home.
Yeah, I think it's going to get smaller because I think that there's just going to be. I think 7 might be a little bit too much for a rivalry game.
Well, it's 6.5.
Late in the year with pressure on, I tend to see smaller spreads in those situations.
Yeah, like if I didn't have a dog in this race, I see divisional matchup and I can get a touchdown. I'm usually taking a touchdown.
Right. Granted, the Lions are at home, but still, pressure on. That's going to be a tough one to say you're going to win by a touchdown. Yeah. Green Bay in Green Bay. I'll be honest with you.
It scares me.
In January, I'm going to say that I don't think the Lions will be favored in that game. I think it'll be like Green Bay -1 or 1.5. But obviously things will change. If Green Bay loses their next game, they're out of it. They might start benching some players. So who knows?
And it's very possible. Change. They don't exactly have an easy
their schedule is actually very difficult. And all they need to lose really is one game, and they're done. That gives them I believe, their 9th loss, so they would be below 500, and there's no way a below 500 team's getting.
Yeah, because they wouldn't have a tiebreaker on us. I think we'd still have a division record, right?
Right, I believe so. Yes.
I think what is their division record?
Even then, though, with 9 losses, you're likely not getting in over Washington or Seattle at that point. So I don't think it really matters. Yeah. Besides, even if Detroit's not factoring in there, which they obviously are. So, but something I've noticed, and I want to get into it a little bit deeper, but something I've noticed is this is really the first week that the national media is really starting to give the Lions some love.
Yeah.
And, it started a little bit last week, and this week it's kind of been full go with the national hype train for the Lions. So, but this is the Fan Report, where it's by fans.
For fans.
I'm Nick, and this is Andrew, my co-host.
Hola.
We are brought to you by Detroit Sports Podcast, at Detroit Podcast, where you can find them on Twitter. You can follow us at Real Fan Report. This is episode number 184, and obviously we are going to be talking about the Lions primarily in this episode, and their playoff run, their game against the Jets. Who wants to hear about the Lions? They are the hottest talk in football right now, and if I must be honest with you. Not even just in Detroit, just nationally, everywhere. They are the hottest story in football.
It's insane.
It honestly is. It's kind of fun.
We went from 1-6 to the hottest story in football in the middle of December.
Okay. As fun as it is, and I love it, the more attention this gets, the more nervous I get.
Yep. They actually asked in his press conference today, Dan Campbell was asked about how the attention, like if he's afraid of that impacting his players or his staff. And he actually said, if that was going to happen, it would have happened this past week. He said we started getting attention last week, and like that, like you basically said, like that was one of the concerns, and one of the things I tried to stress was, don't tighten up because of it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Obviously,
So in his mind, they've cleared that hurdle.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we'll find out Sunday or Saturday,
because the attention's only gotten greater. So.
Right. So, but obviously we're going to be talking about the Lions. We don't really have too much Pistons conversation to talk about. They continue to flounder. They are 4-5 in the month of December, though, if I'm counting correctly. Sometimes that's difficult.
They're still ahead of where they were last year somehow, but that's not saying much.
Right. And I don't expect that really to continue without Cade or really anybody that's playing consistently good basketball. But in lieu of a Pistons conversation, I do have, because of the holiday week that it is of Christmas, I'm going to ask you a question of what do you want to see from Detroit sports Santa underneath your tree on Christmas morning? So in the spirit of the
where are the rules of this?
I mean, no rules, really. I mean,
does it have to be something that could feasibly get delivered in the month of December?
No.
Oh,
it doesn't necessarily have to be something that can feasibly get delivered. It can be really anything. Like, I mean, obviously, I don't want it to, to you to just say, "Oh, I want multiple championships." Like, no, that's no.
I just didn't know if you were getting at like, well, what news would I hope to see on like Christmas morning or the day after?
No, just a gift that Detroit sports can give you. And it can be something that is realistic that they can give you, or it can be something that maybe takes a little bit more of a supernatural force. I don't know. But I just want to know what you want under the Christmas tree from Detroit sports this year for the year ahead. And then next week I want to do a Detroit sports New Year's resolutions as well.
Are we doing that now? Because I have two in my head.
Next week. Oh, the Christmas topic. We'll end with that. Let's start with the hot topic. Let's start with the Lions here. The national media attention is loud. There's everybody out there saying nobody wants to play this team. They are better than the record even says. They're on an absolute tear. They're hotter than anybody. They're one of the toughest teams to beat in the league because they're beating everybody right now, and that's true. To the point where power rankings are coming out from analysts, and I believe it was NFL's power ranking of putting the Lions at number 7.
Whoa.
Which I couldn't tell you the last time the Lions were that high in a power ranking.
I think probably 2011.
I would say 2014. 2014, when the year they got screwed by the Cowboys when they had the number 2 defense. That would probably be the year. But the national media attention, while
I'm just thinking 2011, like that year we started like 5-0 or
something like that, yeah. But I think we probably would have been top 5 at that point. But anyways, national media attention kind of does scare me a little bit because it brings a level of expectation. And if there's anything I've known about the Lions, it's that when there's a set of expectations, they don't deliver, at least in my lifetime. However, I will say, I do think that the culture has changed in this locker room.
Sure, it certainly feels like it.
It without a doubt feels like it. Because you want to talk about a team that throughout this season, we've talked about their lack of talent. The lack of talent at quarterback, the lack of talent on the defense across the board. And yet they're still finding ways to win football games late in the season. We're playing meaningful football late in December, and you're going to be playing meaningful football in January. Previous years and previous regime Lions that have a lack of talent aren't doing what they're doing. And that's why I got to give credit to Dan Campbell and this staff and this organization as currently constructed. With this level of talent, they've been able to bring or put together a winning football team. And I know they're only 500, but they turned a 1-6 football season into a 7-7 football season, and you're favored going into your next game.
Yeah, you basically have to play like one of the best teams in the league to turn 1-6 into 7-7.
Oh no, you have to play like you're the best team in the league. They're not one of. You are the best team in the league at that point. They are the hottest team in football.
Yeah.
I still say 8 wins is my threshold. I am standing to that. They've got 3 games to get it done. Will I be disappointed if they don't make the playoffs? Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, because we got our hopes up now.
But that's like, right, we got our hopes up now. But that's like, okay, I got ice cream with hot fudge, but you didn't give me a cherry too.
Yeah.
It's kind of that type of thing where like
starting to feel like give an inch, take a mile.
Right. Like I
Moving
feel like the playoffs is the mile. You know, like
yeah.
I'm asking. My expectation is the inch of the 8 wins. I want the mile though. I want to see them in the playoffs because I'll be honest with you. There's not a team in the NFC that wants to see this team in the wild card round. And the Eagles better be happy as hell that they don't have to worry about it.
You know how I know things are different in this town? I don't know if you listen to Mike Valenti's new podcast, but he came out and said that
like 7 of them now.
He came out and said that if the Lions make the playoffs, which he thinks they will, he says, "You're damn right. I'm taking. I don't care who they play. I'm taking the Lions." Like betting wise.
I'll be honest with you. I would struggle.
The fact that someone like Valenti would say that.
I'll be honest with you. I would struggle to take them against the 49ers, and I'd struggle to take them against the obviously not the Eagles, because like the Eagles you can't play them in round 1. But as of right now, I would struggle to take them against Cowboys and the Niners.
Well, yeah, who would be the possible matchups? It would be
so if the Lions are as of right now, the Eagles have the first round bye.
Yeah.
If the Lions go to the 7 seed as things are right now, they would play the 49ers in the first round. If they are, not the 49ers. They would play the Vikings in the first round.
Which is what I want.
Which is absolutely what I want. If they go to the 6th seed, which is also a possibility, they would end up playing the Niners in the first round. Now that there is time for that to flop, the Vikings and the Niners are on a much better trend than the Vikings are right now. So the Niners could take the 2 seed away from the Vikings. But obviously there's really not much of a chance for them to play the winner of the NFC South because the Cowboys already have 10 wins and that's pretty much what you max out at. And you're not going to, the Cowboys have the tiebreaker on you anyway, so you can't pass the Cowboys. So you're either 7 or 6. So you're staring either Minnesota or San Francisco in the face. I would prefer to go up against Minnesota.
Yeah,
we've proven we can beat them once, and honestly, I think we've proven we can beat them twice if it weren't for some poor decision making by your head coach early on in the season. Lions Vikings in the playoffs. Yeah, I'm taking the Lions. That's my bet. Lions, Niners, that one's a little tougher.
It's a tougher matchup. But like back to what we were talking about though, like we both came into the season run 8 wins being our expectation. Obviously, making the playoffs means you've exceeded my expectations. Now, if you win a playoff game,
unless you win
my
the
expectations. If you somehow manage to win a playoff game, my expectations have been blown away. And Dan Campbell for Coach of the Year, but.
I'll be honest with you. If the Lions make the playoffs, I think Dan Campbell is Coach of the Year.
He's ready. He's got second best odds behind Sirianni.
Yep.
So.
I really do think that if the Lions make the playoffs, he's Coach of the Year, and he should be because you look at the talent there.
Seriously, SOL.
What?
For as soon as I say I'm out, he becomes Coach of the Year.
You know what? So here's you want to have a little bit of futures prop angle that's going to be one that's fun to pay attention to towards the end of the year. Jared Goff is most improved player, comeback player of the year, whatever it is. Last I saw, his odds were like plus 2,000 or something like that. He's having a hell of a year. And the betting favorite right now, I think, is Geno Smith.
Isn't he broke the Lions record for most consecutive passes without throwing an interception?
I think so. But Geno Smith, I believe, is the betting favorite right now, but he's kind of fallen off a cliff in the last month or so.
As a Geno Smith fantasy owner, I can attest to that.
And Jared Goff, on the other hand, has just done nothing but play extremely solid football. So take a look at the line for Jared Goff, comeback player of the year, and it may be worth a little sprinkle. But Lions, Dan Campbell, Coach of the Year. Yeah, if the Lions make playoffs, I definitely think he's deserving, and I think he will get it at that point. Sirianni had a much, much more talented football team that he was coaching this year.
He is plus 250.
Who is?
Goff.
Seriously? Wow. So right like 2 weeks ago.
Christian McCaffrey and Geno Smith.
So, like 2 weeks ago, I saw somebody put in a bet on Twitter for Jared Goff comeback player of the year. It was plus 2,500. And I thought about it. I was like, ooh, do I get on that? That's real juicy. And then I decided to wait. And now I'm kind of pissed I did.
Aiden Hutchinson plus 600 for defensive rookie of the year. Behind only Sauce Gardner, who's minus 600.
Well, Sauce has been pretty incredible. I won't lie.
I didn't realize that Malcolm Rodriguez is on this list too.
That honestly doesn't surprise me.
So is Trayvon Walker.
That one, Trayvon Walker doesn't surprise me. He was the number one overall pick. Are you thinking of Tracy Walker?
Yeah.
Yeah, Tracy Walker's not a rookie, and he's.
But also, I haven't heard Trayvon Walker's name that much this year.
I think he's still learning how to play football. Tracy Walker's not a rookie, and he's been hurt all year, I believe. Trayvon Walker
feels good that Malcolm Rodriguez has been rookie of the year than the number one overall pick. Though.
So Trayvon Walker has 45 combined tackles, 23 assisted tackles with 3.5 sacks and a pick, and he's got a forced fumble as well. It's respectable. I don't think it's quite number one overall pick good. Obviously, Aiden Hutchinson's had a better year than Trayvon Walker, but I do believe Trayvon Walker is going to be one of those guys that you got to watch out for in the future. I do. Yeah. I think he's going to be a really good pick. But
so one other interesting thing though that I found in terms of if you want to talk about like futures, the Detroit Lions at plus 128 currently on FanDuel to make the playoffs, which is actually ahead of the Seattle Seahawks and the Washington Commanders.
I think that's purely because of schedule. Commanders and Seahawks both have a tougher schedule to end the year.
I mean, there is a world where you could actually have a playoff spot locked up before you play Green Bay.
There is. It's a very unlikely world, but it could.
That would make me feel so much better.
You would need Seattle and Washington both to lose their next two, and you got to win your next two.
Yeah.
Which I think that's the only way that can happen.
100%. It's exactly how it would happen. And Seattle, they both have actually like decently tough schedules too. So Seattle's got the Chiefs, and the Jets. So
who the Jets are going to be playing for their lives. And then the Chiefs are obviously still playing for something out in the AFC West. They're in the AFC seeding race. And then the Commanders have, if I remember right,
the Niners.
Yep, I couldn't remember if it was the Vikings or the Niners. The Giants, I think, have the
Vikings. But then they do the Browns at home.
Which the Browns are garbage.
Yeah. But then they turn around and get the Cowboys in the final week of the season, and hopefully the Cowboys have something to play for.
I don't think they will. The news of Jalen Hurts being hurt and potentially out for a couple weeks may change that.
Yeah.
But I think the Cowboys are locked into their 6 seed, or not 6 seed, 5 seed. Because I don't think they have the tiebreaker on the Eagles, and they're 2 games back with 3 to play. I don't think there's really much of a chance there.
Yeah.
So,
as long as Washington loses to the 49ers this weekend and Seattle loses to the Chiefs, 2 very plausible, if not likely, outcomes.
And you beat the Carolina
Lions
Panthers.
Can beat the Panthers. You have a playoff spot, not locked up, but you are now in the playoffs.
You are in the playoffs, waking up on Christmas morning. Yes, that's a nice Christmas present.
Yep.
So, but before we get into that though, let's talk about this game and then the next one. What were your thoughts from this Jets win?
I didn't expect it to be pretty going in, and it sure as hell was not pretty coming out.
No, it took last minute heroics by Brock Wright.
Obviously, there was good and bad take from this game. Like the good was, and I mean, by the time this comes out, you probably heard this said 1,000 times already. But this was the type of game the Lions do not win historically.
Right. The gritty
one just in the elements alone that like going on the road, playing outdoors in December, they just in general don't win that. But then the type of game that gritty football game where the offense was stalling and back against the wall. Late fourth quarter, those were not situations the Lions were winning. Not even Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford used to do that at home a lot, and on the road maybe indoors, like against Dallas, for example. But he wasn't doing that a ton outdoors.
I don't think Matthew Stafford ever had a low-scoring gritty game against Dallas. I remember them all being
no. I'm talking about like back against the wall kind of thing. Okay. But yeah, you're right. So I think that's like the big positive I take away from that, and just the fact that like one part of the ball can fall to like offense can stall, but the defense can pick up the slack. Special teams can pick up the slack like that. That's a good thing to see. The one thing that worries me a bit, and it's gonna sound nitpicky, but I'm really worried about the usefulness of Jameson Williams like being muted on this offense. Like,
I mean, that's
we might have to use him we might have to use him just like in the slot and hope he can get some yaks or something. Like,
you're not wrong about potential. Like, Jared Goff just can't utilize Jameson Williams at what he does best, which is the home run ball. Because Jared Goff can't throw the ball downfield. Even the play where he did hit him against was it Minnesota?
Wide open.
Right, he was wide open. But the ball
and he had
was
fully turn around.
Yeah, he had to turn around, come back to the ball. He's just lucky he was so damn wide open that he had time to. This game, it was damn near the exact same throw, underthrown, and it got tipped away because of it. Even though he had his man beat by 5 yards, he couldn't get him the ball. And it was only a 40-yard pass. It wasn't like this 60-yard bomb. It was like 40 yards. So Goff not being able to hit that pass is a little bit concerning for Jameson Williams being able to be effective in this offense.
The other thing that stood out for me was just some concerning lapses in coverage by Jeff Okudah.
Yes,
specifically on straight up lob balls.
He's not had a great like 3 to 4 weeks now. Like he's struggled a little bit. I know last week he was sick, but
I give him a mulligan last week. Last week.
This week, what was the excuse? It's not like he was going up against another Justin Jefferson. He was going up against what was the guy's name, Jeff Smith or whatever. Like, you're not going up against a really good wide receiver at that point. I know we've seen Jeff Okudah get beat by some bad wide receivers in the past. So to see him not being able to find the football on a lob, which was basically a punt, that's not good. That tells me that he doesn't have good ball skills.
Yeah, like that's what's concerning because like we've seen Jeff Okudah just get straight up beat, like just because he doesn't have the top end speed that a lot of receivers have. But this was just straight up 2 straight plays of not being able to locate the ball when you had the hang time to not only be able to locate the ball, but make a play on the ball too.
Right.
But you weren't even able to get to the first step, which is locate the ball.
That's a problem for if you're a cornerback. If you can't locate the ball in the air, especially when it's lobbed and you've got all the time in the world to do it. Like that's not good.
And then Dave Campbell, like he didn't call it out specifically, but he said he basically talked about how there were certain plays in that game where we had ample opportunity to make a play on the ball, and we just had to make those plays. But he didn't call Okudah out specifically, but we all knew he was talking about.
Well, I mean, there was a few. Deshaun Elliott had one really bad one as well.
Yeah.
There was a few guys that had some missteps on defense, but Dan Campbell didn't coach the greatest game either. Some clock management issues were in there, along with the play calling in the red zone on the goal line was terrible. They ran it 3 straight times and got stuffed every time. 4 straight times and got stuffed every time. Like I've never been in the belief if it doesn't work 3 times, why would you try it the 4th time? Like do a play pass in there.
Yeah.
Make the defense think about it.
I'm more concerned about the fact that it didn't work. You're talking about you're basically putting up our O line against a D line with no Quinn Williams.
Still a really good D line though. They are still, even without Quinn Williams, one of the better D lines in football.
And the pass wasn't working all that well on Sunday.
No,
I don't blame them.
You can't run a play fake on the 3rd and goal from the 1 yard line.
Yeah.
Like, come on, you got to do something there. You can't just run the ball straight at them 4 times in a row.
Yeah.
Like for them to go 0-3 in the red zone this past weekend, that's not good.
Yeah.
And frankly, Jared Goff was outdueled by a Zach Wilson who was coming off the bench, cold, pretty much. He hadn't played a down of football in who knows how long. And Zach Wilson outdueled Jared Goff for most of that game until pretty much the very end of that game is where Jared Goff was able to kind of shift it back the other way.
Yeah.
You can't get outdueled by Zach Wilson and win many football games in this league.
Yeah, it's because there's part of it where you're like, that's a mark of a good team to be able to have a below average game and still come out with the win. But there's the other part of like if this happened against Green Bay in Week 18, you're not getting away with that.
Nope.
You were able to get away with it because the Jets are not a great offense.
I'll tell you this: you're not getting away with that against Carolina. Your offense plays that poorly against Carolina, you're not winning that football game. Carolina can score a little bit. They can. They could score better than the Jets.
Here's the thing with Carolina, though. I feel like if you stop the run, you stop them. Like they are very. They want to. It's what Pittsburgh did this past week. Carolina is very focused on running the football.
Yeah,
and
they run the
Pittsburgh
ball. Pittsburgh
took that away from them.
They have. I
want
to say they have the fourth best. I want to say they have the fourth best running game in all of football.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So yeah, you take away a top 5 run game.
Obviously, you can't ignore DJ Moore. Like obviously, but in the past few weeks, Carolina's MO has been running the football, and it feels like if you can stop the run, you can pretty much stop that offense.
Sam Darnold has still been serviceable since he's been given the starting job again. He hasn't thrown a pick. He's not turning the ball over.
Yeah.
So, and he's able to at least find one touchdown, one player in the end zone.
Yeah.
Jared Goff didn't do that the entire game until Brock Wright's touchdown to save them to save us in that game,
and that was more on just really good blocking and really good playmaking by Brock
it was a blown up coverage by the Jets that led to some really good blocking downfield and Brock Wright making finding the right lanes to go and get into the end zone. Like yes, if you stop the running game of Carolina,
man, what an exhilarating play.
Oh my God, it was nuts. Yes, if you stop the run of Carolina, you have a far better chance of winning the game. But what's one thing the Lions, throughout the course of the season, have struggled to do? Stop the run. I mean, the games they've won, they've been able to stop the run. Games they've lost, they've gotten run all over. The Vikings, the Giants, those games they stopped the run. But you look at the other games that they've lost, they got ran all over.
Yeah.
So they are susceptible.
Good thing is those stopping the runs are all in this recent hot streak where getting run all over are mostly in the first half of the season.
But I firmly believe that the Carolina Panthers offensively are a better team than the New York Jets offensively speaking. I think Sam Darnold is a better quarterback than Zach Wilson.
I agree with you.
I think DJ Moore is better than any weapon that the Jets possess. So, again, you play that, your offense
That's
plays
a good
that
question.
game.
DJ Moore or Garrett Wilson? I know Garrett Wilson's a rookie, but like
DJ Moore.
He's had a hell of a season.
Garrett Wilson's got to prove it to me more. DJ Moore. DJ Moore has had several seasons of really good.
I'm talking about right now. Like, I'm not talking about like over their course of their career. Obviously, you can't compare careers yet.
Garrett Wilson, he has had a really good season. He's not able to get in the end zone a ton, but I mean, technically, Garrett Wilson has the better season. He has the better season than DJ Moore, but I'd still take DJ Moore right here, right now, just because of the experience level and just what he's been able to do. I mean, he's got the last 3 seasons, he's been over 1,100 yards receiving. That says a lot about a guy. But anyways, you can't play the game you played against the Jets and hope to beat the Carolina Panthers. And frankly, I will also say this. I don't think the Panthers defense is as good as the Jets at all, anywhere close. So I think you're going to have a little bit more room to score the football. I think if Jared Goff has a bounce back game, you can see the Lions getting up early in this one. And then just not looking back, frankly.
Yeah. I still feel like similar to the Jets game, though, like, I feel if you can put up 24 points on this team, I think that's a win.
What have the Carolina Panthers been doing in the score
I do
column?
think if you want keys to victory, I do think with this team, it's stopping the run.
Well, the Panthers put up 30 against the Seahawks, 23 against the Broncos, 25 against the Falcons, 21 against the Bengals, 34 against the Falcons. And that's really where most of their scoring has been. Everything else been below 25. So I don't know if 24 is quite enough. I think if you can get to 30, you win this game. I don't think, let's just say, you're not going to lose the shootout to the Carolina Panthers. There's no chance of that happening in my mind. They've had one shootout all year, and it was against the Atlanta Falcons. And so if you can get your offense into a rhythm, see, that, in my opinion, that's one of the keys to victory for the Lions this week is get into a rhythm on offense, and you'll never allow Carolina to get comfortable. Because that's one of those things. Carolina is one of those teams where their ground game is effective because of getting into a rhythm and dictating the tempo. So if you can dictate the tempo with your offense, Carolina's running game, the strength of their offense will never get comfortable.
Yeah.
And you'll be able to dominate them all up and down the field.
I agree. I think it's a very good point.
So I think the Lions setting the tone with their own run game mixed in with Jared Goff having a better football game and playing like he's played for the majority of the last 5 to 6 weeks. I think that right there will cement this game for the Lions. And we'll be on to Chicago at that point. But right now we're on to Carolina. That's all we should be focusing on. That's all we should be looking at. It's one game at a time here.
That's the stuff that us as Lions fans are not as used to. Just the idea that if you're in the hunt as the season goes on, each game gets bigger and bigger and bigger.
Especially when you're in a situation where you pretty much have to win out. There's scenarios where the Lions can get in with only 9 wins, but the scenarios drop drastically once they lose a game. You need help at that point.
For all intents and purposes, we are looking at Week 18 being a playoff game.
Yeah, it's the play-in game essentially. Yeah. Because granted, Green Bay would probably be out of it by then, but for you, it is that is the play-in game. So it's probably going to be a situation of you're in while the other teams are are on the outside looking in, and you're in a situation of win or go home. So I'd rather be in that position than be in the Washington or New York or Seattle's position of being on the outside looking in, praying for a loss from another team. But
so I'm very curious here. So if Green Bay wins out up till they play us, and then let's say we lose to Green Bay, we will both be 4-2 against the division. We'll both have the exact same win-loss record of 9 wins, 7 losses, or 9 wins, 8 losses. Sorry. What would be the next tiebreaker after that?
I think it's record against common opponents. So it's head-to-head, best one-loss tied percentage in games played within the division, best one-loss tied percentage in common games. So that would include your division opponents plus anybody else you've played together. So the NFC East, essentially. I believe it would be the NFC East and the AFC East would be the two. Then it goes best one-loss tied percentage of games played within the conference. And then it's strength of victory in all games. And then it's strength of schedule in all games. And then it just keeps going until it's eventually it goes all the way down to a coin toss at number 12.
Oh, man. Because I'm just trying to figure out, is there a way, if we were to win these next 2 games, does that automatically eliminate Green Bay, or can they still get in the playoffs against us if they win the next 2?
They could get in against us if they win out and we
lose our last game.
Lose to them,
which would indicate that they have a better record against common opponents. Is that what we're saying?
Well, we'd have to find out.
Because that would be the only way. Because the other 2 are the first 2 tiebreakers are dead ties.
Dead ties, right. So the Eagles, let's see, who have we played together?
It should be point differential, to be honest with you.
It does actually get to that point of... So point differential is strength of victory in all games. So it's the 5th tiebreaker. So it goes common opponents, conference record, then point differential.
Because right now we have a net of 5. They have a net of minus 27.
Right. So right now they're 1-1 against common opponents, not including the division. We already know that that's dead even because they lost to the Giants, but they beat the Patriots. They lost to the Commanders, but they lost to the Jets. So they would be 1-3. Lost to the Bills 1-4. So beat the Cowboys 2-4. Lost to the Eagles 2-5. The Packers-Dolphins game coming up is a big one. They could, let's say they go 3-5. So then if they end up with the same division record, it goes to common opponents. So they'd be 3-5 if they beat the Dolphins. Versus the Lions, I don't know. I'd have to count it.
We would have the Washington win, the Jets win, the Giants win.
So there's 3. So we're 3-1. Did they play the Seahawks? No. 3-2 because of the Patriots.
Well, don't even count losses. Can we count 4 wins against common opponents? So don't even
3-3 with the Dolphins, 3-4 with the Bills.
Mm-hmm.
No,
well, I think we'd be tied.
We'd be tied in common opponents as well. So then it goes to conference record,
which would be tied.
Jesus Christ. So then it goes to point differential, which I do believe the Lions would have the edge, yes.
Mm-hmm.
So
interesting.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. Yeah. So
no, we'd be tied. We're a half game ahead of them on conference record right now.
Okay.
So,
well, obviously, I'd like to have the Packers lose to the Dolphins this week, and I'd like to have the Packers lose to the Dolphins this week just to get that out of the way.
Yeah.
So that the Packers have nothing to play for come Week 18.
Yeah. That's the only reason I wanted to go through the exercise was, can we force them to have nothing to play for in Week 18?
We cannot.
Like, do we control that? Well, if what we just said is true, then yes, right?
No, because, well, it depends. How badly does Green Bay win their next few games?
Well, that too.
I mean,
yeah.
To go that far down, like it's tough to have to go that far down. It's tough to say that they got nothing to play for. Because what if they end up beating you by 30 points in Week 18 and they make the playoffs because of it? Like, there's something that they have to play for.
So, Lions minus 2.5.
Give me the Lions.
I'm taking the Lions too.
Give me the Lions. I think that they are just the better football team over Carolina. I don't think Carolina's very good, even if they have Sam Darnold playing good football. I think the Lions match up well.
Yeah.
This is one of those games that is going to be a little grittier, but it's less gritty than the Jets game. I think they match up better against the Panthers than they do the Jets, just because of the fact that the D-line is kind of become the strength of this defense as of late, and they can stop whatever offense Carolina has. And I think this Panthers defense is something that the Lions can pretty easily score on. I do. So and the Lions are more inclined to be able to push a shootout game and rack up points versus the Panthers can't keep up with that. So
yeah,
I think the Lions just match up well in this one.
I fully agree with you, but I also would not want to take anything north of a field goal just because.
Well, you're on the road.
I know. Yeah,
you're on the road outdoors.
I know the elements.
Yeah.
So
we don't know what the weather's going to be like down in Carolina. The entire country is in the midst of a potentially generational winter event.
Yeah.
Like, this is, we don't know what's going to happen by the weekend. So
all I'm saying is Week 18 better get flexed to prime time if both teams went out. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, there's no chance they don't. Like, you're talking a Green Bay Detroit rivalry with a winner go home situation with both teams. Yeah, that's prime time. The only thing that sucks is it's not at Ford Field.
Yeah. I think the NFL purposely backloads the Green Bay schedule, home schedule. Like, I feel like every year they play like 3 of the last 4 games at home.
Well, when you're one of the greatest franchises in all of football, you can afford that.
Yeah.
Earn it, and then you can talk about it.
Because that's where Green Bay's home field advantage really lies, is at home in the winter.
Right.
Yeah.
Granted, I don't even think Green Bay players like playing in that. So does it really? This isn't the days of old where half these guys grew up in Wisconsin or Minnesota. This days of now where most of these boys played in like the SEC and never seen snow.
Yeah.
But anyways, we're both taking the Lions this weekend. A lot of excitement. Lions are on an absolute tear, getting a lot of respect as they deserve, all across the board from the coaches to the players. Have you paid attention to any of the Pro Bowl voting at all?
Not really.
Kirby Joseph won the fan vote for free safety.
Really?
He did.
I like this. Or
at least he's in the lead for it. I don't know if he's won it, but he's in the lead for it right now. I think Aiden Hutchinson is like number 3 or 4. Jared Goff is like 4 or 5. And okay, so here's a good question I wanted to pose to you. Because you and I, it's no secret, neither one of us are huge fans of Jared Goff. And I firmly believe, like, if this team wants to win a Super Bowl, he's not the guy.
Yeah.
If this team wants to reach its highest potential, he's not the guy. However, I think we, at this point right here, right now, we'd be stupid to not bring him back next year. He has played good enough.
Don't have a better option.
Right.
So.
And, granted, we do have a potentially number 3 or number 4 pick, which could lead to a potentially better option.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just not in love with any of the quarterbacks. And I think Jared Goff has done enough to earn another shot at this, like another go. Yeah. He's played for the most part, really good football this year. And frankly, you look at the NFC's quarterback situation, how many of the teams in the hunt for the playoffs, would rather have Jared Goff as their quarterback? So let me give you that list.
I mean, I can name them. Seattle probably would stick with Geno.
I actually disagree. I disagree. I think they would rather Jared Goff. And I actually firmly do believe that.
Geno is above Jared Goff for that Comeback Player of the Year award.
That's fine. Geno Smith has also fallen off a cliff in the last month.
I think Taylor Heineke and Jared Goff are pretty similar.
I think they would take Jared Goff over Taylor Heineke.
I think the Giants would definitely take
they would definitely take Jared Goff. The Green Bay Packers, no. I can't really count Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers, but I mean he's 40.
Niners are 100% taking Brock Purdy. At this point in time, yes.
See,
they are riding high.
I disagree. I think.
I'm not saying it's logical. I never says logical.
I'm talking.
I'm just saying they are riding so high.
This offseason, Andrew. Right this offseason. Let's say the Lions say, Jared, thanks, but no thanks. He's a free agent. How many teams are giving him a call?
Niners would probably give him a call.
Seattle would give him a
Well,
call.
actually, no, because Niners have Trey Lance still waiting in the wings.
They'd give Jared Goff a call. Promise. Niners give him a call. I think the Giants would give him a call. I think the Commanders would give him a call. I think the Bucks would give him a call. I think the Panthers would give him a call. I think
the Vikings should give him a call, but will they? I don't know.
I'd take Kirk Cousins over Jared Goff. I'd take Kirk. There's in all reality, there's 3 or 4 quarterbacks that I would definitively take over Jared Goff in the NFC right now.
Jesus.
Jalen Hurts, Dak Prescott, Kirk Cousins, and in all honesty, that's probably it, unless you want to talk Aaron Rodgers. Justin Fields, the Bears probably won't be calling because of Justin Fields. But beyond that, every other team needs quarterback in the NFC. All the good quarterbacks are in the AFC. All of them. Except Jalen Hurts and Dak. So, I think the Lions would be stupid not to bring him back. Because right here, right now, Jared Goff is probably a top 5 quarterback in his conference. Can you really tell me I'm wrong?
That's really weird.
Can you tell me I'm wrong, though? Exactly.
I can say that a few of the teams are debatable, but I can't definitively say you're wrong.
Jared Goff has played better football this year than Geno Smith. I look at the numbers. I actually do believe that. Geno Smith turns ball over a little bit more.
Yes, Geno Smith turns the ball over more.
Yeah, Geno Smith has fallen off a cliff.
But on pure tools, Geno Smith has.
He does. And Geno Smith has had a great season. Don't get me wrong. He's had a really good year, and nobody expected this out of him. But the NFC has kind of become a conference of protect the football.
Yeah.
And, I don't know. Geno Smith only has 8 picks to Jared Goff's 7, so maybe not. But they're very close and very similar in a lot of ways.
And you can also make the argument with Jared Goff do as well in another offense.
I mean, you can make the argument about anybody. Geno Smith didn't do as well in another offense, so.
Because we've seen Jared Goff excel behind a really good offensive line before with the Rams.
Right.
I think that's part of what he needs.
Right.
Because Jared Goff's not a guy that's going to keep a play alive.
Jared Goff needs 3 things to be successful. A really good O-line. Sorry, 4 things to be successful. Really good O-line. Master play calling. He had it with Sean McVay, and he's got it here with Ben Johnson. Really high-level weapons, and a really high-caliber run game. He's got all 4 of those things here.
It's like I said last week. Jared Goff is a guy that, as long as you put the pieces around him, he's not going to hurt your team.
You got to put a lot of pieces around him, though.
He's not the guy that's going to beat your offense.
Absolutely not. But he's top 5 quarterback in the conference.
Yeah,
he is.
And you built this team to suit Jared Goff.
You have, and you've given him an opportunity for success. And if I recall, I think we were talking about that in the beginning of the season. This is the year for Jared Goff. If he can't get it done with this team, then what the hell? Then I don't think he can ever get it done.
Yeah.
He's got the weapons here. He's got the pieces around him. So let's see if he can turn it into some playoff appearances, maybe even playoff win or 2 or 3 or Super Bowl. Who knows? He's been there once. Granted, the Rams had a much better defense at that point in time than the Lions have, but anyways, let's go ahead and move on to the other topic that we had, the Christmas topic. So in spirit of the holidays, I wanted to have a little fun, and I wanted to have us both list what we want to have under the Christmas tree on Christmas morning from Santa Detroit Sports. And you can be, you can ask for more than one thing. That's okay. Nothing wrong with that. I honestly have a couple.
I'm trying to think how big I should swing with this.
I don't want to go for the low-hanging fruit of, I want championships.
No, I'm not. No, I never. That's not even in consideration. No, because I have a couple.
Okay.
All right. So the first thing I was debating was for my Lions Christmas present. I was debating: do I want to say I want to see them play a playoff game or win a playoff game? I'm going to go with win a playoff game because I do feel
because you've never gotten to see one.
And I do feel in my heart of hearts we are going to make the playoffs. So I want to ask for something that I personally can't afford.
I'm right there with you, honestly. I actually really do believe this team's making the playoffs.
In the spirit of asking Santa for things, I'm asking Santa for things that I know I normally couldn't get. So I'm going with give me a Lions playoff win.
All right, I like it. So first under my tree, I want a wave of health to come across the four sports teams here. A healthy Pistons roster, so Cade just magically has that shin heel. A healthy Lions roster. Nobody's banged up. A healthy Wings roster. Bertuzzi's back. Verana's, got his mentals in order. Fabry's back. Larkin's not banged up. Soderblom's not banged up. Hronek, Mata, all of them. And a healthy Tigers lineup for next year. I want everybody, I just want a wave of health to come across our Detroit sports teams here because I feel like we've had a tough go at it for a little bit here. And I want to see everybody get healthy and see what these teams can really do for what they are.
Amen to that. Jeez. I feel like we've been really hit with the injury bug this year.
Every team has in this town.
My second Christmas wish, and then this is the other thing that I was wavering between. And I'm going to stick to what I had said the last pod in terms of what I want for what my goal is for the Pistons this offseason, and that is
Victor Wembanyama.
I want Troy Weaver to
shoot Dwayne Casey out of a cannon
and to deliver a veteran star leader.
Okay.
To this basketball team.
Okay, I like it.
I was wavering between, do I ask for that or do I ask for Victor Wembanyama under my Christmas tree? And that's more fun, honestly, but I'm going to keep it real. I'm going to keep it realistic.
Do you have a specific name?
Devin Booker was spotted in a Red Wings jacket the other day. And
okay, all right. It's not the first time he's been kind of like loosely connected to the Pistons besides the draft. The Suns did just get bought by Matt Ishbia. Maybe there's a little bit of collusion there. Maybe. Mine is, and this is a home run swing, in my opinion, is all of the front office changes that the teams in this town have made over the last few years here, 3 years, I want to say, are the right guys. So Stevie Y.
I like that.
Stevie Y, Troy Weaver, Brad Holmes, and I'm drawing a blank on the guy the Tigers just brought in. Jesus Christ. That's Scott Harris. There we go. I thought I was going to say Scott Miller for some reason. I don't know why. But Scott Harris are all the right guys to do the job. And they will deliver winning product for this city.
I have the utmost faith in Stevie Y. I have the utmost faith in Brad Holmes. I still have faith in Troy Weaver. I don't know much about Scott Harris. I just know that people like the hire.
People in baseball like him. We'll say that. I have a lot of faith in the guys that we have right now. I think everybody's in the right direction.
Yeah.
I have one more. Do you have one more?
I can come up with them, but go ahead.
I want to see this town have a definitive face for each franchise once again.
Nice.
to have the guys that we can put on the
Nice.
billboards, put on the buildings, those murals in the buildings, have definitive faces where you see the commercials of the highlights, and it's all about those guys. So
All right, let's go
whoever
through real
we-
quick. The current face of each franchise. It's Cade for the Pistons. I think it's Dan Campbell for the
It's
Lions.
Dan Campbell for the Lions right now. I would prefer it to be a player, but it's Dan Campbell. We have a wrestler as our WWE superstar as our face of the
Is
football
it
team.
is it still Larkin for the Red Wings, or is Mo Sider the new face of their franchise?
I don't think either one of them are yet.
Is it Stevie Y?
It's nobody right now.
It's nobody.
I don't think the Wings have one yet. I think Larkin isn't quite outspoken enough. He's got the talent. I just don't think he's quite outspoken enough. And Mo Sider, I think, is still a little bit too young. So, but I do think before long it'll be Mo Sider. And then for the Tigers, it's nobody. There's nobody even close. You want to say Cabrera? Fine, he's in his final year, so he's not the face for the future. So it's nobody there. So my goal is to have a definitive face for each franchise, because that tells me that each team is winning and doing well. What's your final one?
I'm gonna go not as big swing. I'm gonna go for this Killian Hayes resurgence to be real. I know it's
I like it.
it's
Some may argue that may be the biggest swing of all. Just going to throw it out there.
because, and the reason I say that, because if he keeps up his play as of late, at least on on a mostly consistent basis, that is a dangerous type of player to have come off your bench once Cade comes back healthy next year.
Absolutely.
And that is a type of player that would be conducive to winning. And it also means I don't have to see Corey Joseph play basketball ever again.
He'd quite literally be a better defending Rajon Rondo coming off your bench. That's lethal.
It would be what I want. You would have your Marcus Smart type player.
Yeah,
off
you
your
would.
bench,
That's
which is
lethal.
what I wanted from Killian.
That would be incredible. I won't lie. That is what we have asked Santa Detroit Sports Claus to bring us for Christmas. But that is gonna. Anything else to add?
Merry Christmas to those who celebrate. Happy Hanukkah to those who celebrate. Kwanzaa, is that this time of year too?
Yes.
Happy holidays to all who celebrate holidays.
I think it's Happy Kwanzaa. I could be wrong. I don't know. Unfortunately, it's not my culture. But anyways, thank you guys for listening. Merry Christmas to everybody out there. Happy holidays. Happy Hanukkah. We hope you guys enjoy the holidays. Stay safe. Happy New Year. We'll see you guys next week talk to you guys next week for New Year. But we hope you guys enjoy it with your friends, family, or whoever you like to celebrate with. Or if you don't like to celebrate at all, we hope you just get some time to relax. But thank you to you guys for listening to us for yet another year. And we hope you guys enjoy your time. We will catch you guys next week. This has been the Fan Reporters. Bye, fans.
Who is Detroit Sports Santa?
Right now, it sure as hell's looking like Dan Campbell. All right. What do you put the odds?
It's Tom Gorst. Going drunkenly down your chimney.
Honest to God, if there was a news report that came out that said Tom Gorst was arrested for breaking into people's houses when he was drunk, I'd believe it.
I think the thing that annoys me most about Tom Gorst is he only shows up when we play LA. That's it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's where he lives. I swear he's an LA fan.
Show your face at LCA
Pistons
more.
fan.
Come on,
Right.
man. You're the owner of this team.
Right. Do you honestly like an involved owner?
I don't want the owner to be too involved in actual basketball decisions. I want him to empower the people who are paid to make those decisions.
Right.
But I also, want him to be around.
Because, Bill Davidson wasn't really around too much.
He was there. He had his own suite up top, but he was there.
Right, but the owners always have their own suite.
At least he was in the building. All right.
Yeah, I guess he was, but
I want the owner to look like they care. At least that's all. That's all I'm saying.
yeah, that's fair. Fair enough. Anyways, thank you guys again. Follow us on Twitter at Real Fan Report. Thank you to Detroit Sports Podcast at Detroit Podcast as always. We will catch you guys next week for our end of the year episode and jump into the new year. This has been the Fan Reporters. Bye, fans.
More fans.
Have a Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Holidays to everybody out there. Have a good one. Peace out.
Peace.